Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name's Kara-Leah. Today I wanted to speak to this particular Krishnamurti quote. I was reading Daniel Pinchbeck's Instagram maybe a couple of weeks ago, and he put up that quote there, I don't mind what happens. And then there was discussion underneath. And so this is what I wanted to speak to right now. Um, the way that people will often misunderstand this particular quote. So the full quote is that Krishnamurti says to someone, he's like, do you know what the difference is between you and I? And the interviewer's like, no, what's the difference between you and I? And Krishnamurti's like, well, the difference is that I don't mind what happens. I don't mind what happens. And the major objection that comes up is that people say, and I can give one from here, from one of the comments. Let me have a quick look at this. Looking at the comments. Okay, so the person's objection is view 3 more replies. It's understandable in theory, but this rhetoric is null when one is going through a war or being raped. We have to mind, otherwise injustice will prevail. Sure, these sayings might apply to a business being lost or a breakup, but not to the death of a child or anything else that no one should ever experience. So there is an underlying assumption here that if we don't mind what happens, then we won't take action, right? And so the underlying assumption is that we have to mind what happens in order to take action. And this is what is fundamentally untrue. This is the error in logic that means that people don't understand this saying. So when Krishnamurti says, I don't mind what happens, what he's pointing to is that resistance to the unfolding is no longer present, that there is no resistance to what is happening right now, which is pure folly if you think about it. If something is happening, to resist what is already happening is that's insane because it's happening, right? So there's no resistance to what is unfolding. Now, when there is no resistance to what is unfolding, resistance is like a barrier in a way. It's like a separation. It separates us out from the thing that is happening. And when there is no resistance to what is happening, then what I notice is that I fully feel the truth of the moment, and that can be painful and can be uncomfortable. So there's my little kitty cat. You probably can't see her, but she's sitting there, and if let's just say that I was out on my driveway and I saw my cat running across the road and my cat was hit by a car in that moment. Now, if I'm not in any resistance to that at all, no resistance, there is just a total opening to what is happening, then in that moment, what would unfold is like the grief, the shock, the disbelief. And if I can be with that, if I can fully embrace that, the grief and the disbelief and the shock as I'm watching my cat be run over in front of my eyes, right? Then all of that can be, we talk about devouring it, digesting it, and dissolving it. Because if I'm with it, hey kitty, if I'm with it in that moment, if I'm not minding what's happening, there's no resistance to what's happening, there is full openness to the unfolding, and then all of it is felt, then it's digested and it's dissolved. And out of that arises action. Action is taken, like in that instance. So I can feel the emotion, like there's a little emotion there around it. In that moment, right? The action, even though I'm not minding what's happening, what I feel is that I would run to my cat, to tend to her. Holy, this is the thing, right? When we open fully to life, when we don't mind what happens anymore and we allow ourselves to feel the whole, then all of it is there, all of it is present. And even though I'm speaking of something that is imaginary, and is not happening here and now, the system doesn't actually know any difference because time itself is an illusion. Um, so I can feel the emotion as I go into and feel that. So I would run to her and I would comfort her, and yeah, all of that would unfold. So this is the thing to understand about this quote, is that not minding what happens means radically opening yourself up to feel what is happening, to feel what is happening. And from that perspective too, when injustice, if you want to talk, is happening, the action that is then taken, my sense of it is the action that is taken from truth rather than from mind, you see. And for me, that feels so much more powerful, like so much more powerful. And my sense is that when we mind what is happening, there is an enormous amount of energy, right? It's like trying to hold back a tsunami. When we mind what is happening, we are pushing away, separating out, and going, no, I don't want to feel the truth of that because it's too painful, right? And then all of that energy that's being put into stopping, resisting, complaining against, blame, all of that, it's like life force that's being drained. It's like a massive energy leak. And then that energy, that life force can't be used to respond, right? And so from that perspective, when we stop minding what is happening, when we allow ourselves to fully open up to the truth and the reality of what is unfolding and feel the fuck out of it, then we access enormous power to be able to respond, to be able to take action. And that action comes from truth, and it comes from love, and it comes from for the well-being of all beings. Because not minding, opening right up, seeing the dance, understanding what is happening, it's just all a manifestation of the internal world being projected externally, ultimately. So just to wrap up, just to summarize on this, when Krishnamurti says, I don't mind what's happening, it doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that what's happening, that you don't, it means that there's no resistance, there's no separation to what is already unfolding. It means there is a willingness to open to meet, to embrace, to fully feel what is going on. And out of that, when we are able to do that, when we can meet life fully and we can devour and digest and dissolve, my senses, out of that arises truth and love. It can't be any other way. It just can't be any other way. We're stepping out of the paradigm of attempting to manage, control, and manipulate the apparent, it's not really, but the apparent external world in order to have the experience we want to have, so we can feel the way we want to feel. And really, this is what this human dance is all about, is that we're constantly trying to feel how we want to feel because we're afraid of all the other feelings, right? And once you stop being afraid and you just welcome and embrace and meet what is there, you are free. You are fucking free. That is liberation. Alrighty, blessings, blessings, blessings. May you know the truth of what you are. May you open up and feel the truth of not minding what is happening. One day my kitty cat's going to die. I don't know when. I don't know how. Will I mind when it happens? No, because that is life. That is death. And if I notice that I'm minding, I'll notice that I'm minding. And then my work is to dissolve the minding so that I may fully open up to and feel the unfolding. Love to you all.